Hi everyone, Heather here with PersephoneReturns.com, and today I am back with another weekly forecast for Monday, April 9th through Sunday, April 15th of 2018. And this is actually looking up to be a really, really nice, pleasant week. We've had a lot of sort of craziness and chaos in the astrology over these past couple of weeks, especially last week with all of those, with the conjunction between Mars and Saturn, which was a little bit frustrating. It was preventing us from moving forward and taking the action that we want to take, causing a little bit of conflict, a little bit of tension, and especially with the square coming from Mercury retrograde to Mars and Saturn, it's just a very frustrating energy, right? So there was a lot of challenge, and we had to work really hard last week, and putting down the small steps every single day to create a really solid foundation for the future, going back, redoing, revising, re-editing things, and doing those Mercury retrograde sorts of activities. And it was just a lot of hard work and a lot of getting things together, right? And so this week is quite the opposite of that. It's a really, really excellent week with some really great energy to just rest, relax, reflect, spend time, doing activities that are intuitive, creative, spending time in relationships, spending time experiencing things that are pleasurable and fun to do. It's a really, really great week for quiet contemplation, reflection. There's a lot of Neptune action going on, which is wonderful for visualization, for, especially with Neptune coming into a really nice sextile with Mars later this week. It's really good for visualizing what we want to manifest and what we want to move forward with once we come into this really powerful, strong new moon in Aries, which is conjunct Uranus, which is the great awakener, the great liberator, which is going to shake things up, and it's going to cause us to need to move forward with things, to take action and to change. And so this is sort of the calm, not before the storm, but before we get to start moving forward again. Because on Sunday, when we have this really powerful, really passionate new moon in Aries, we also have Mercury in Aries stationing to finally go direct. And so, the new moon is never a time when we just jump in and launch into things, but this is a time when we seed our intentions and when we begin to initiate the action that is going to be taking place over the course of the next, lunar cycle, which is 4 weeks. And so, this is going to be a lunar cycle of forward motion, forward momentum after we had just taken 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde in Aries, which was preventing us from really jumping into things, where we had to go back, revise, hone in on what we needed to do in order to tie up loose ends, in order to get things completed so we can move forward. And that's what we've been working on for a while now, it seems like. So, just taking care of business, taking care of the dirty work, making sure that we have our affairs in order, because as soon as this new moon happens, this next week after that is going to be just complete forward motion, forward momentum, where can't stop, won't stop kind of energy there. So this week is a really nice time to rest, reflect, relax, just kick back. It's a really beautiful energy. We do have Venus in a nice trine with Mars, which is really good for passion, for creativity, for relationships, for sensuality. It's really, really good for just connecting with others very passionately. So this is going to be a really great energy to start the week off with, and that starts on Tuesday. You'll be feeling that pretty much the entire first half of the week. The other thing that's going on is that Venus is going to be coming into a nice sextile with Neptune. Venus, Neptune sextiles, trines, really positive aspects between Venus and Neptune are they're some of the best aspects that you can have for relationships and just for overall feelings of compassion, of love. Neptune brings love, it brings compassion, it brings romance, it brings this dreamy quality to our relationships. And when it's in a nice aspect as opposed to a hard aspect, we can still see things clearly, right? We're not completely going to be space cadets, but this is a really nice time to escape in relationship or through relationship, to do something romantic, with your partner, to even find a new romance that could be very dreamy, very romantic, very pleasurable. Venus in Taurus is one of the most sensual placements for Venus. It's at home in Taurus, but it's about the sensory experience, right? It's about doing things that are a little bit indulgent in terms of the material realm, the physical realm, things that feel good, that tastes good. And so, this is a really nice time to like cook, go out to eat with your partner, go out dancing. When you have Neptune in sextile with Mars, that's really good for dancing and for visualizing movement, for creative movement and creative expression through movement. This is also really good for spiritual practices that involve movement as well this week. So things like, yoga, tai chi, whatever you do to sort of move energy through the body, these types of practices are more supported during this time and can yield better results during this time. You can feel it a little bit more. So yeah, this is a really creative, really sort of dreamy, flowy week. And especially as we come into, Wednesday night, but really Thursday and Friday for actually pretty much just Thursday, that's going to be the bulk of it, at least in America, because the rest of this is going to be going on overnight. But Thursday in particular is a really nice day. We have this really beautiful Venus sextile to Neptune, which is all about escaping into pleasure, escaping into altered states of reality, escaping into romance, right? It's about kicking back, relaxing, just, enjoying the moment, enjoying the energy. And with the moon being in Pisces at that time, it's going to bring this sort of dreamy, sort of magical quality. It's not good for getting a lot of things done this entire week, really. The beginning part of the week, you have Venus in trine with Mars, which can be good for getting things done within partnership or, getting things done in terms of financial dealings and things like that. But really, for the most part of this week, it's a waning moon. It's going dark. And there's a lot of Neptunian energy, which is more about kicking back and relaxing and going with the flow. And on Thursday, that's going to be readily apparent because you have a lot of Neptunian energy with the moon as well, because the moon is going to be in the sign of Pisces. It will conjunct Neptune. And the moon will be making only positive aspects the entire time it's in Pisces. So this is like a really rare opportunity where things can just sort of flow really well, where you can, really have really powerful dreams, visions, impressions. This is where you start to envision what you want to manifest, right, with full moon or with the new moon and what's coming. And when we move forward, especially into next week, it's a really creative, really intuitive, really spiritual time period. So I would take advantage of that if you're able to. I know a lot of people have to work on Thursday and all of that, but before, during, after, if you can take time to yourself, take time for introspection and contemplation, pay attention to your dreams, paint, journal, whatever it is that you like to do that's creative. These things are all going to be supported this week. And then as we come into the new moon, which happens on Monday, this is a really powerful new moon. It's new beginnings, right? Because it's in Aries. Aries is all about initiation. It's about action. It's about ambition, right? So we're taking all of these things that we've been sort of working on and ruminating on and perfecting and revising, and all the things that we've been visualizing and sort of thinking of and wanting to create. We're actually going to be able to start taking these and putting them into motion, right? Taking our plans and putting them into action beginning in this lunar cycle. And so this is a really powerful time to seed intentions, especially for change, because this new moon will be conjunct Uranus, right? And Uranus is a planet that's associated with change, disruption, really powerful downloads, inspiration can come to you around this time of the new moon, which happens on Sunday. This is a time when it's not necessarily a time on Sunday to start doing things, right? We have Mercury that's going to be stationed. It's going to be completely stopped. And this week it's slowing down a lot too, which is going to sort of slow our momentum, slow our roll. So again, a really introspective, really slow sort of week. Not a good energy for getting a lot of stuff done. So if you have major plans for like, I'm going to do this, and this, maybe take it back a notch, right? Tone it down. Wait till next week. That's when you can really jump in and do all these things. So if you're not able to accomplish everything that you feel like you should accomplish this week, don't feel bad. Just know that, next week's going to be the week to do it. So if you need to put some things off, that's completely okay. You have an excuse, right? It's in the stars. And then on Sunday, that's going to be a time of seeding intentions for things that we move forward with. It's not necessarily a time for jumping straight into things. And we can get really powerful downloads, impressions, inspiration. When we have Uranus conjunctions like this to the new moon, it's a time of divine inspiration. And especially because the moon is dark, right? That's a time of introspection anyway. And so taking time for introspection, taking time away from the world, taking time for yourself, spending time in meditation, journaling, really figuring out what it is that you want to do moving forward. These are all things that are favored this weekend also in particular. And so, and we're going to get a really big reset and some, change that's coming in, major or minor, depending on where it is in relationship to your personal planets, but there's change coming. And the seeding of the energy of that change, where you can start to get a little sneak peek of what's coming, is going to be happening on Sunday. And so that's pretty much what's going on for this week. And so I'm going to start getting into the forecast for all 12 signs. And of course, as always, if you want a more personalized reading where I go into the transits and how they affect you personally in a very nuanced way, you can always book a reading with me. The link is in the description of my video below. And also don't forget to subscribe if you like watching these, so you can get the updates about what's going on in the planetary energies and all of that. I know that after, I think next week, actually, next Tuesday, I'll be doing an interview with Robert Phoenix that you guys won't want to miss about Uranus and Taurus. And I do have some other interviews and other really interesting astrology videos and non-astrology videos as well that I'm planning for the next couple of months. So stay tuned for that. And so I'm going to get into this. So we're going to start, of course, with Aries and Aries rising. All right, so for Aries and Aries rising, first and foremost, at the beginning part of this week, you're going to have some really nice energy happening in terms of your work, right? And so you might have been working really hard during this Mercury retrograde to try and push these projects forward, to get things together, to get your ducks in a row. With that Saturn-Mars conjunction last week, it might have been a little bit frustrating in the workplace, or frustrating when it came to pushing forward a big project with your career or making some sort of career move. And so this week, you start to see some of the results, and those results can be monetary because you do have Venus happening, or Venus transiting the sign of Taurus in your second house. And so this is really great for your finances. So this is a time period when you can initiate action or start to contemplate action that you want to initiate, and start to seed those intentions to initiate action when it comes to big projects and taking new initiative when it comes to your career, your public reputation, all of that, and it can bring in money and finances. So you could end up with an unexpected bonus or some extra money coming in this week through the hard work and effort that you've put in, especially over the past couple of weeks. This is also a time when you can sort of get downloads, impressions, inspiration through your dreams, through your spiritual practices, through meditation, through all these different types of things that can help you to create more resources for yourself moving forward, that can help you to create more financial abundance, that can help you to create a better, more harmonious work environment for yourself, that can help you to initiate action and manifest what you want to manifest when it comes to your career and your public reputation. And so these are things that you can be thinking about this week. It's not necessarily a time to push really hard, even though you might want to with a lot of energy in Aries, coming up at the end of this week. This is the time more to contemplate, to sit back and to see these types of intentions. At the end of this week and into the weekend, you're going to be starting to feel the new moon, which comes exact on Sunday. And so this new moon is going to be a major reset and a major change that's very personal to you and your own self-interest. So it's about changing the way that you show up in the world, changing the way that you initiate action, anything essentially that you want to create and initiate. You have the green light. And if your birthday is actually in the next week, especially over the weekend and into Monday, you're going to be having a new moon conjunct Uranus for your solar return, which indicates powerful, powerful new beginnings and major changes throughout all areas of life for you. So happy birthday. And I do think that these are going to be positive changes. There's a lot of good things going on in the astrology this week. But any change that you want to initiate, anything new that you want to do, you might feel the pull to create more freedom and more sovereignty for yourself on a very personal level. And that is something that you would be, that you have the green light to do right now. So start thinking about, what you want to create and what you want to intend for that new moon that's happening, because this is going to be a big one for all the Aries people, especially the people who have sun, moon, and rising at the last degree of Aries, or the last degrees of Aries, not the last degree. So I would say from 25 to 30 degrees, or 25 to 29 degrees, because it doesn't go to 30. That's where you're going to be feeling this the most. All right, and for Taurus rising. So first and foremost, you have this really nice energy at the beginning of the week coming from your 9th house and your 1st house. So you have Venus in your sign. So right now you might be feeling more harmonious, more likable, more charismatic, more sensual, more attractive, especially if you're a female. It's, having Venus in its home sign of Taurus is always really nice, but especially for Taurus people, it helps you to feel more confident, more lovable. It helps you to give and receive love more easily. It helps you to become more receptive of other people's love and appreciation. And so right now you might be feeling pretty good, especially this week with all these really nice aspects to Venus. This is a really great time where you can connect very compassionately with your friends, with your social networks. I highly recommend socializing midweek, not in a way that's really, really intense, like going out and partying necessarily, but doing something social can be very, very a really nice escape where you can feel very dreamy, very romantic, and very loving and compassionate toward your friends and toward your social networks. So connecting with people is favored for you this week. The other thing too is that maybe you're planning a big trip, or you want to move forward with something involving education, and partnering up with people in order to do this is actually going to be beneficial for you this week as well. You have some really nice, really passionate energy coming from your ninth house. So that could be meeting someone from a foreign country that sort of is drawn to you. So maybe even like a foreign lover or something like that, or traveling with a partner, or planning, long distance travel to a foreign country within partnership or something along those lines. All of these things, could be a potential for this week for you. And those types of things could flow much more easily than they normally would. The new beginnings for you are happening in the 12th house. So this is more about endings. This is like letting go and getting ready for a major reset in your life, right? So this is sort of the waning, like dark phase of the solar cycle for you before your solar return if you are a Taurus sun sign. And so this is sort of like a period of letting go of all the past karma from the past year, a period of endings, of letting go of ambitions that no longer serve you, that you don't necessarily need to push forward with, letting go of pushing too hard, and letting go of, worrying so much about things that might impact your stability or might impact the way that you think things that should be, because Taurus is a fixed sign. They don't necessarily like change so much. And you're going to need to start to let go of the old so you can prepare for the change that's coming in, because Uranus is moving into your sign next month. And so this is about clearing away the old, letting go of old baggage, old beliefs, old conditioning, anything that no longer serves you, that's preventing you from moving forward into this positive change that's coming for you, which starts next month but lasts for 8 years. And so this is a major phase of preparation, surrender, and letting go for you. Also, if you want to start something new, the new things that can be started with this new moon and this lunar cycle are major changes to your spiritual practices. You can have really intense, really sort of inspirational dreams where you get these downloads, these inspirations through your dreams, through sort of the depths and the recesses of your psyche. You can get these psychic impressions, these visions, these sort of like moments of awakening, like, wow, this is exactly what it's supposed to be, or this is exactly the answer that I was looking for. Those types of things can come through this week for you as well, especially if you spend time alone and spend time in contemplation. The new beginnings can be new beginnings in spiritual practices, new beginnings in 12th house endeavors, which have to do with things that are secretive, that are hidden below the surface, that are kept out of sight. 12th house institutions could be involved, like hospitals, ashrams. Maybe you're planning a spiritual retreat or something like that, and that could be where a new beginning could be found. Other places are including like prisons and things like that, which hopefully that's not what you're being involved in unless you maybe work in a prison or something. It could also be, what did I mention? Ashrams, monasteries, temples, places that are hidden away from the world, spiritual retreat, that type of thing as well. And so those are where the new beginnings are happening for you. But this is more about endings. I would say at the end degrees of Aries in your 12th house, it's about letting go and it's about preparing for change. All right, so Gemini and Gemini rising. Let's see here. So first and foremost, a lot of interesting stuff could be going on in terms of your career. Your career life can become a little bit less hazy, a little bit more I don't want to say, well, a little bit, there could be some more momentum going when it comes to your career and your public reputation, because you've had Neptune in Pisces transiting your 12th house for a very long time now. And it's being triggered in a very positive way where you can actually take these visions, these impressions, this sort of dreamy, confusing energy that's been going on in your 12th and your 10th house, which causes you to visualize and to think about things and to fantasize about what you want with your career, but it doesn't really compel you to initiate action. And this is a time when you actually could initiate some sort of action because of that really nice sextile to Mars. So you can actually take your visions, your impressions, your dreams when it comes to your career, your public reputation, and what you want to do with these things, and you can turn them into some sort of focused action, and you can actually manifest some of these things out in the world. The other things going on for you this week is that you're going to be having a major reset in the area of your 11th house, which is your friends, your social networks. And so there could be some major changes going on when it comes to your social circle and the people you surround yourself with. You could have new people coming in over the course of these next few weeks, and you can have some people that you maybe need to cut cords with that might be moving out, right? That you might need to let go of, that you have to sort of release. So major changes that could be coming about, and a major reset when it comes to your friends, your social networks. Also a major reset in the area of organizations, groups, charitable types of pursuits and things of that nature. You can also get an unexpected, maybe new beginning or a reward that comes from the effort and the hard work that you put in the 10th house. So if you've been having a hard time in terms of career and figuring out what you need to do in terms of your work and all of that, this is the time when you can start to see the results of the work that you've done, and you can also start to move forward with plans and things like that. So you can actually take like I said before, take the dreams, the impressions, and turn those into something that's more action oriented, that benefits you more in the long run. Okay. For Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for you this week, you have some really, really beautiful energy going on when it comes to your friends and your social networks. You could, come into contact with a new romance from someone from a foreign country. You can connect with people in foreign lands much more easily. Maybe you're going on some sort of spiritual retreat as well, or planning a spiritual retreat with a partner, or planning some long distance travel to a place that's very, beautiful, creative, like an escape. And that's something that would be favorable at this time. This for you is really, really great for romance. So you have Venus in your 11th house of friends, of social networks, of the people that you surround yourself with, the groups of people that you tend to engage with. And then you also have this in a really nice trine with Mars in your 7th house. So the passions are ignited a little bit for you this week. So if you're in partnership, this is a really great time for romance. This is a really great time to go out, have dinner, go on a date, something along those lines. And this is also really good for, doing something with your friends, right? So going out and taking action when it comes to your friendships, going out together, going out to a party, a concert, a restaurant, something along those lines, with your friends if you're not in partnership, or if you don't want to go on a date with someone or something like that. This is also very favorable for, hanging out with your friends and spending time one-on-one with the people that you care about, that you surround yourself with, right? Your friendships, the people that you sort of lean on and can rely on. And then this new beginning is happening in your 10th house of career. So you've been having Mercury retrograding in your 10th house for the past 3 weeks. So this is you having to redo things, reorganize, tie up loose ends, wrap things up, and now you're ready to move forward with your career goals, with your new plans, and to make changes when it comes to your career and your public reputation, and to start these big projects. And maybe there's something unexpected that you haven't even planned yet that's about to come up for you as a result of this new moon. So there could be unexpected changes to your plans, even if you think that you've really honed in on those over the past couple of weeks. And these changes, I think, will be mostly positive. So there's a major reset, new beginnings, time to initiate action when it comes to your career. For Leo and for Leo rising, a lot of this energy is happening in your 6th and 10th house. So you have Mars right now in your 6th house, which, might have been causing a lot of tension, disputes. You might have had to work really hard when it comes to your career, or you might have had maybe tension, friction with coworkers. Your daily routines might have been a little bit more tedious over the last week. And now things lighten up a little bit, and you start to see some of the results from all of the hard work and effort that you've been putting in that area of life. And so if you've been working really hard, in terms of your career goals, if you've been working really hard on a day-to-day basis when it comes to your work, then you might be recognized for that. And the recognition might be financial. It might be, getting recognized from an authority figure, a pat on the back, a good job, or it could be something a little bit more substantial, like a promotion. But now is a time when you can actually start to see the rewards of the efforts that you're putting in this area. Also, with Neptune in the 8th house making really nice sextiles to these places, you can get some sort of help, maybe financial assistance from an outside source. If you've been looking for funding for some sort of project or something like that, that could come through. If you were looking for like a loan for a business or something like that, that could come through as well. But in general, this is a really great, really beautiful creative energy for your work and your work projects. So career stuff is still in focus this week, but it's a lot gentler and a lot easier than it was last week. And the new beginnings and the reset start this weekend in your ninth house. And the ninth house is the house of travel. It's the house of your beliefs too. It's the house of knowledge gained through experience, right? So it's higher knowledge, higher wisdom, broader perspective on things. So this can give you a new perspective on life, a new perspective on your beliefs, your philosophies, your religious values, your morality, all these types of things. There could be a major reset and a major change in that area for you. This could also bring an unexpected new beginning or opportunity when it comes to higher education, like college. Maybe you applied to some sort of program and you hear back or something like that, and the news is really surprising to you, because when you do have Uranus involved, it can bring surprises, and it's not always the surprise that you want. But it's usually what you need, right? So you might have some sort of surprising news when it comes to higher education, or some sort of travel plans, right? That maybe you have an unexpected sort of opportunity for travel that comes up in the next couple of weeks, or you sort of suddenly decide that you need to travel and you start making plans and start moving forward with that. But you've had Mercury sort of back and forth in your ninth house for the past couple of weeks. And so this has been you wrapping up loose ends, rethinking your beliefs, your value systems, realigning yourself with your integrity, thinking about the way that your actions and your thoughts are in alignment with your integrity. And it's been giving you a bigger picture and a broader perspective on the things that you do on a day-to-day basis to sort of create your reality and to frame your life. And so this is a major reset in your perspective on things, right? And so that's what's going to change, and that's where the new beginnings are happening for you. All right. And for Virgo rising, this is going to be a lot of energy going on in your fifth house of romance. And that's actually making a really nice trine to the ninth house with Venus there in Taurus. And so this could bring some sort of passionate new love affair or romance that comes from a foreign country, or some sort of communication, or some sort of need to initiate action with somebody in partnership in a foreign country, or maybe something involving a foreign investment for a business, right? Because this is actually the fifth house is the house that rules entrepreneurs. It's your creative self-expression out in the world. And so you could get some sort of foreign investor or foreign partnership that comes in, or somebody from a foreign country that maybe buys your product or something like that. But it could bring investments and all that. If you've been looking for investors and needing investments, you have a reset going on in your eighth house. And so at the end of this, and also just before I get into that Mars in your fifth house of romance, love, creativity, children, play, all of these wonderful things, but it is the house that's associated with romance and romantic gestures. And then you have that coming into a nice sextile with Neptune in your seventh house. So this could be a really, really nice time and an interesting time for romance, for partnership, for going out on dates, for connecting with people on a one-on-one level in a way that's very passionate. And there could be a romance with somebody from a foreign country, like I mentioned before, and it would be something very passionate and compassionate. And or you could just be connecting with someone one-on-one from a foreign country. It doesn't need to be romantic, but it definitely could be. And so there's a lot of really beautiful energy going on this week for Virgos and for Virgo risings. You're going to feel a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more uplifted. And then at the end of the week, you have this new moon conjunct Uranus in the eighth house. So this could cause you to have to sort of face some of your fears. It's a new beginning when it comes to your own personal empowerment. You've been having Mercury retrograding back and forth in the eighth house, which has to do with everything that leaves us feeling disempowered and where we need to take our power back. And so when Mercury retrogrades the eighth house, we're thinking about our deepest fears, our deepest insecurities, issues involving debt, taxes, other people's money. That's one way that we get disempowered, is through people taking money, or us borrowing money from other people and them holding it over our heads and things like that. So you might have been thinking about resolving debts, rebalancing your budget, rethinking old intimate encounters and intimate relationships. This could also be bringing up like old fears, old insecurities that you might not have wanted to look at. Maybe you had to look at those fears, face those fears, let them go, and become more empowered. And so now you're coming into a new beginning and a change when it comes to your eighth house. And this could be a very empowering but disruptive experience, right? It's a disruption to your inner sense of safety and security. It's a disruption to your sense of power and empowerment. And so there could be some sort of unexpected power struggle or unexpected thing that starts in that area, but really this is about new beginnings. So if this is an area where you've needed to change something, or you've needed to take back your power, this is a time when you can really start that. So if you need to pay off debts, if you need to get your finances in order, if you need to take back your power when it comes to your control and sovereignty over your resources, this is a time when you can really do that. This could also bring unexpected opportunities for deep intimacy in relationships and sexual relationships as well. So that's something that could come up, especially with all this really nice relationship energy in your chart. And so that could be where the new beginning shows up as well. All right, for Libra and for Libra rising. So at the beginning of this week, you have some really nice energy going on between your 8th house, which has to do with joint finances, and your 4th house of the home and family. And so, some money can come in from an outside source or from an investment that you made, or something along those lines where you could pay off a debt. But it's somehow connected to the family. So you could take this money, funnel it into your home. It could be that you're married and your marriage partner brings in a little bit extra money. Maybe they get a raise or a bonus or something like that, or some money comes in from the outside, or you get a tax refund and you funnel that into some sort of action, some sort of renovation in your home, a move, redecorating, whatever it is that you want to do with that. But you're funneling it into some sort of action that you could take with your home and with your family situation. And there's a really nice sextile going on between Neptune and Mars this week as well. So you can really, really visualize what you want to create when it comes to your daily routines and the way that those impact your family and your home life, and also, your career and your public reputation as well. So creating better routines for yourself and visualizing what that looks like and what that feels like. So the fantasies that you've had for the life that you could have in terms of like your daily reality or your health, this is a time when you can start to take action and to take this and put it into reality. This is also a reset and a new beginning when it comes to your relationships, especially your marriage partnerships, close romantic relationships, long-term partnerships, but this could also be business partnerships, close friendships, anything like that. So this is a new beginning for you in relationships where some sort of change can occur in that area. And so if there's a relationship that you've been needing to let go of at the last degrees of Aries, then this is a time when, that can end rather abruptly or in a way that's very surprising to you, or a new romance and a new beginning could show up in that area where, a new romance comes in. If you're in a really good partnership already, this could manifest as a new beginning in your relationship, or some sort of change that has been really needed for you when it comes to your partnership, that starts to unfold and it starts to take hold over these next couple of weeks. And so this lunar cycle, especially the first half for you, is about making changes and new beginnings in your relationships. All right. And Scorpio and Scorpio rising. There's a lot of really nice energy going on in your 3rd and your 7th house. So this is really great for communication and partnership with other people. So partnering up with people, really good for having really good communication within your romantic partnerships and all that. You have Venus in Taurus right now, transiting your 7th house. So your relationships are probably a little bit more imbalanced and in harmony right now. And, Mars in the 3rd house is initiating something within a partnership involving communication, involving short distance travel, involving making plans, involving some sort of educational pursuit as well. So maybe you are taking a class with your partner, like a cooking class or something that's really practical, that's more of a skill, right? As opposed to something broad and expansive, which would be more of a 9th house thing. This could also be forming closer bonds and closer relationships with people within your community. So this could be you coming into new friendships with people that are nearby in your neighborhood, or connecting with your neighbors, right? Connecting with also distant relatives, connecting with siblings in a way that's more close and more intimate. These types of things can be initiated for you this week. And communication just flows really easily between you and pretty much anyone that you come into contact with, especially at the beginning of this week, which is a very vastly different energy than last week, where there was a lot of issues in communication, especially within the workplace and things like that too. And it needs to sort of focus on that. But also for you, there's a lot of romantic energy. So Scorpios are another sign a lot of these signs are getting a lot of romance. I should title this video something about romance, right? Because this is a very good energy for partnership in general, but especially, this week, a lot of people are having a really nice configuration that supports romance and partnership. And Scorpio is no exception to this rule. Scorpio and Scorpio rising, you have Neptune in your 5th house right now of romance. This is also the house of children, of play, of things that you love to do, but it is a house associated with romance. And this is in a very, very nice sextile with Venus in your 7th house. So this is a time to get romantic, to get passionate with your partner, right? So this is a time when you're going to feel closer to your partner. You're going to feel more loving. This is one of those energies where you can sort of merge your soul with somebody else. It's very dreamy, very romantic. So, big romantic gestures, spending time in partnership, especially away from other people. That would be really nice to do. Going out, right? Because the 5th house is going out to like restaurants, concerts, parties, doing things that are creative together too. That could be very nice. But in general, this is a really dreamy, really compassionate, really loving, connected energy for relationships for Scorpio rising and for Scorpios. The new beginnings this week are going to be happening at the end of this week in your 6th house. And so again, this isn't just happen on the day of the new moon, but this is really what's being seeded and initiated for this next couple of weeks. And so for you, the new beginning is happening in the house of work and the house of health. And so your day-to-day work routines might need a little bit of a reset. You've had Mercury retrograding in the 6th house, so you've been thinking and rethinking your health, wrapping up loose ends, changing things, revisiting old habits, changing your health habits, changing your habits when it comes to your day-to-day work routines and making things a little bit better for yourself moving forward. You might have had to wrap up a lot of work projects that were sort of bogging you down on a day-to-day basis in order to get caught up, so that way when you move forward, you can change things in a way that's very positive for yourself. So this is a very positive change that could occur if you've been doing that work and all of that in terms of your health and your work routines and your day-to-day routines and experience. And so, whatever it is that you want to create for yourself in terms of new beginnings in this area, now is a time when you have the green light to start doing so. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, this energy is really nice this week for your money, for money and for work. And so you have this really nice energy going, and for your home and your family situation too. But you have this really nice energy going on here between the 2nd house of money, finances, the way that you create resources for yourself, and the 6th house of health and work and daily routines and coworkers. And so, this is a time when some of the work that you've been doing might get recognition. You might have a better connection with your coworkers, which you're already starting to have anyway, having really good relationships with the people that you surround yourself with on a day-to-day basis, because Venus is transiting the sign of Taurus, right? And so Taurus is the ruler of your 6th house. So that indicates greater balance when it comes to not just daily routines, but your relationships with your coworkers. And this could also indicate, initiating some sort of new action for your work that is aimed to improving your resources, right? So initiating new action when it comes to the way that you create resources for yourself within the workplace. And this is also really great for new creative projects for your work too. So if you want to do something more creative, now is the time to sort of start thinking about doing that. This is also a really nice time where your home and family life can really support your health, your nutrition, your daily routines, and your work life a lot more easily. And you can take the money that you're sort of creating for yourself, or these plans that you're having when it comes to, creating resources, and you can turn them into action a lot more easily. And you can take that money and funnel it into some sort of creative project that you've been visualizing and fantasizing about when it comes to your home or your family life. And then the new beginning, the reset for Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising is occurring in the 5th house of romance. This is also the house of children, creative self-expression, the way your hobbies, your interests, and the things that you love to do. So this is maybe you taking a new approach to your downtime and the things that you love, taking a new approach to the way that you engage with your children, taking a new mindset when it comes to children, taking a new approach to romance, or this could be a new romance that starts for you, or revitalizing and reviving romance in a current partnership. And so this is, your hobbies, your interests, the things that you love to do. This is where you can really focus your energy and have a new beginning. So this is all about fun and creativity. All right. All right, and for Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this is going to be a lot of really nice energy, again, for romance, for communication. This is really good for enhancing your relationship with your children or the father of your children. This is really great for creative communication and creative expression of all kinds. This is really good for, creative forms of marketing, creative forms of communication, writing creatively, creating from the heart. So this is all about creativity for you and doing things that are very beautiful, very loving, and very compassionate. This is a really, really great energy to initiate projects involving the things that you love to do, your hobbies, your interests. This is a good time to go out and to connect romantically with other people. You're going to have more compassionate, more loving communication, and you're going to feel much more loving and compassionate toward the people that you interact with through this, the energy through this week. This is also going to be new beginnings for you when it comes to your home and your family situation. So you spent the past 3 weeks about with Mercury in retrograde, thinking, rethinking, reorganizing, tying up loose ends, and getting your house in order. And so now's the time for new beginnings when it comes to your family. Surprising new beginnings, maybe. I don't want to say that everyone on here is going to have an unexpected pregnancy or something like that, but you could unexpectedly add some sort of new member to your family, or there could be a new beginning in that area if that's something that you kind of have been hoping for or wishing for. This is also unexpected changes and new beginnings when it comes to your home environment. So this could be maybe a house comes up on the market that you've been sort of wanting and looking for, and maybe it comes up unexpectedly and you get to move forward with it. Maybe it's making changes to your home environment, like renovation or rearranging or redecorating or something like that. Or maybe it's just a change in your relationship with your family members, not just like your immediate family and your children and things like that, but also, your parents and your grandparents and all that. So this could be a revitalization of your relationship with your family. And so this could bring new beginnings, changes, and even some surprises that are unexpected when it comes to your home and your family life. For Aquarius and for Aquarius rising, this is actually a really nice energy for, first off, finances, which have been sort of taking a little bit of a hit with Neptune being in Pisces. For Aquarius people for the past several years, it's probably been a little bit harder for you to hold on to your money and hold on to your resources. Because when Neptune is transiting your second house, it's like money slips right through your fingers. And so you always have what you need. You're able to manifest it in some sort of way, or it just shows up for you when you need it. So it's not necessarily that you're going to be without. It's just that when Neptune is in the second house, it's like, where did it all go? Which is a common problem that people have anyway, swiping cards and just spending all freely and all that. But even when you try, it's difficult to keep track of your finances when you have Neptune there. And, your finances are getting a little bit of a boost. So you can start to create more resources for yourself. This is also going to be more compassion and more love toward your connection with your family members. So connecting with your family, connecting with your roots, spending time at home, spending time, with your parents or your grandparents or with your children, spending time, doing things that are really creative in the home. That could be really nice for you to do too. Like redecorating for you in particular is really nice, but this really improves your relationships with your family, and it creates a better balance and a better harmony when it comes to your home and your living situation that you might have missed or you might not have had. And so this is a really nice time to do that and to connect in that way. This is also a new beginning that's occurring for you when it comes to, oops, where did this go? Oh, the third house. When it comes to communication, when it comes to short distance travel, learning new skills, maybe you have an unexpected sort of opportunity that comes up in the next couple of weeks to learn something new, to study something new, to acquire a new skill set. This is also new beginnings when it comes to communication and the way that you communicate your ideas out in the world, changes to your beliefs and your thought processes. This could also be downloads and divine inspiration that come through the mind and through the intellect. This is also really good for if you're thinking about starting a project that involves writing or any sort of communication, really. This is a really good time period to start working on that. This is also a new beginning and reset with short distance travel. So maybe you're planning a short trip, or you're planning some sort of little mini getaway, or maybe this could even be you buying a car, right? That's the third house in short distance travel as well. So new beginnings in that area for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. And then for Pisces and for Pisces rising, this is a really great week for really passionate, really strong communication when it comes to your friends, your social networks, the people that you surround yourself with. This is a really great time for you to connect and communicate. And this could be communication that is involving your work and networking for work. That would be a really great use of this energy because things will go much more smoothly. And the connections that you make with people can actually create the initiative and the drive to move forward with new projects. And something can actually come out of these things. It's really a great time to connect with your friends, to go out with your friends, to spend time, around the people that you like to spend time with, right? And so communication will be enhanced within your friendships and within your social networks. This is also a time when you're going to feel much more compassionate in the way that you communicate. You'll communicate much more lovingly, in a way that's a little bit nicer and more gentle. A very Neptunian Piscean way of communicating, right? You'll be much more empathic and much more connected to the people that you interact and engage with. This is also really great for creative communication, creative expression through writing and things like that, creative writing especially, and like poetry, anything where you're expressing yourself creatively through language. That's going to be very much supported during this time. This is also a time where there's going to be a major reset and new beginnings in your finances. And so if the past couple of weeks you might have been thinking and rethinking and rebudgeting and balancing your budget and paying off debts and this and that. So there's been a lot of mental energy surrounding your finances. And so now's a time when you can take everything that you've been working on, been wrapping up and been planning, and you can start to create positive change for yourself when it comes to your finances and your budget and your resources. And so, now is a time when you can start and have some new beginnings and seed some intentions for financial abundance and financial wealth and some sort of change in your finances. And you can have inspiration that comes in that helps you to create more sovereignty and more freedom for yourself when it comes to the way that you create resources out in the world. So maybe that's you thinking of ways to work more independently, you coming up with like a side hustle or something, all these types of things, or, something you could do via the internet, right? That's Uranus. That could funnel in more money and more opportunity for you in the resource department. So, so that's what's going on for Pisces and for Pisces rising. And so that is all 12 signs, you guys. So check back next week, and I will be doing, the weekly forecast. I'll have an interview about Uranus and Taurus with Robert Phoenix. And until then, I hope you guys have a really wonderful week. The energy looks really nice. It's going to be a good week. Nothing too crazy going on, at least not until Sunday. And even then, I don't think it's going to be anything too bad. So I hope that you all are doing well. And if you have questions, comment below, or you can email me, which, my email address is always in the link in the description below. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.